It was a quiet Tuesday evening, the kind that carried an invisible weight in the air, thick, almost suffocating. I sat alone in the living room, the amber swirl of whiskey in my glass, catching the lamplight as I stared into nothing. That's when Lauren walked in. She moved quickly, too quickly, like she was trying to outrun something. Her coat was half on, half off, and her fingers twitched nervously around the clasp of her purse. But it wasn't her body language that cut through me. It was a scent. A rich, musky cologne clung to her like a warning. It wasn't mine. It was a scent I knew. Intimate, heavy, masculine. It didn't belong anywhere near her, not unless she'd invited it. My stomach turned, but I forced my expression to remain calm. I wasn't ready to let her know that I knew. "Hey, babe," I said casually, swirling the whiskey in my glass, voice even and almost warm. "How was your day?" She faltered for the briefest moment before forcing a smile. "Oh, busy. Meetings, errands, the usual." Her voice was bright, too bright, painted with a kind of careful, rehearsed energy that begged not to be questioned. I raised my glass, took a slow sip, and smiled. "Meet anyone interesting?" Her eyes twitched for just a second, and she shook her head a little too quickly. "Nope. Same old people. Nothing exciting." I nodded again, the image of the unsuspecting husband etched perfectly into my face. But inside, the ground had cracked open beneath me. I went to the bedroom alone and sat on the edge of our bed. My fingers curled tightly into mattress as I stared at the floor, letting the truth settle over me like a slow-burning poison. Lauren was cheating. Over the next 2 days, I watched her in silence. Suddenly, everything I'd once ignored came into stark, painful clarity. The late-night meetings that stretched past midnight. The renewed obsession with her appearance. The way she held her phone, like it contained state secrets. She thought she was clever. She thought I was blind. But I was watching now, and I wasn't going to stop until I had every piece of the puzzle. The next night, while she was in the shower, I picked up her phone. My stomach twisted as I typed in her passcode, but I needed to know. I had to see it with my own eyes. It didn't take long. The name Mark appeared over and over. Messages that started off flirty became graphic, explicit, intimate in ways she hadn't been with me in months. There were pictures, too. Unmistakable. Indefensible. My hands trembled as I set the phone down. The betrayal was real. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. That night, lying beside her in bed, I stared at the ceiling while she slept next to me like nothing had changed. A plan began to bloom in my mind. Dark, methodical. I didn't want to scream. I didn't want to argue. I wanted her to pay. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she'd done, piece by piece, until it crushed her. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I spent the day gathering evidence. Every message, every call log, every image. I backed it all up. Then I hired a private investigator to follow her and her lover, documenting every kiss, every hotel visit, every hour stolen behind my back. And then I turned to money. Lauren had no idea I'd always been the one managing our finances. I knew exactly how our assets were divided, what was liquid, what wasn't. Quietly, over the span of a week, I drained our joint account carefully, subtly, until the bulk of it rested in an account only I could access. I canceled her credit cards. She wouldn't notice until it was far too late. While I worked behind the scenes, I played the perfect husband. Flowers. Takeout from her favorite restaurant. A surprise weekend getaway in the works. At first, she looked at me like I was up to something. But then her suspicion faded. She thought she'd won. She thought I was trying to win her back. She had no idea. The cabin I chose for our weekend was isolated, buried deep in the woods. Romantic, she called it. It was quiet, peaceful, the kind of place where no one would interrupt what needed to happen. That night, I made her favorite dinner, poured her wine, made her laugh. We reminisced about our early days, our travels, our dreams. I let her feel safe. I let her believe the lie for just a little longer. Then I leaned back, tone soft, almost casual. "So, Lauren, how long have you been sleeping with Mark?" Her wine glass paused midair. She blinked once, twice, the color draining from her face. I don't know what you mean. I slid my phone across the table. Her own messages and photos lit up the screen. I watched as her world cracked in real time. Her lips parted, her hands shook. "It's not what it looks like," she whispered, voice small. "Don't lie to me," I said, voice flat and unrecognizable. "I know everything." Tears came quickly. She reached across the table, pleading. She begged for forgiveness, said it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that she still loved me. I stood. Love doesn't hide in hotel rooms. Love doesn't leave cologne on your skin. Whatever this was, it wasn't love. She tried to touch me. I stepped back. "You're going to sign the divorce papers," I said, "and you're going to do it without making a scene. Because if you fight me, I'll make sure everyone sees this. Everyone." The sobbing stopped then. Her eyes went wide with fear. She knew I wasn't bluffing. Within weeks, it was over. The divorce was finalized swiftly. She walked away with almost nothing. The apartment was sold. The accounts emptied. As for Mark, turns out he had a wife, too, and she was ruthless. Between the two of us, we shattered every illusion he'd built. Months later, I moved to a new city. New job, new life. Sometimes the ghost of her betrayal still echoed, but it was quieter now, distant, powerless. Lauren tried to reach out once. Just once. She wanted to talk, apologize, see if there was anything left to salvage. I never answered. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. In the end, I wasn't the one on my knees. I wasn't the one begging. She was, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free.